Hi there everyone, it's me again, Random Chat, and I'm Darren if you don't know that already. Today's chat is going to be, once again, about our lovely Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Well, let's start with Keir Starmer, shall we? Within such a short time, he has become the most hated person within politics. He's alienated everyone, he's called everyone racist, far right, he has put innocent people in prison, he has put a blasphemy law in that's only there to stop people saying anything about Islam. So he's done really well in such a short time. He is taking money away from the elderly, and let's face it, most of his voters are probably elderly people anyway. So he's lost them. So who's going to vote for Labour in 5 years' time when it comes to any elections? I don't think he's going to be getting any boxes ticked, do you? So he hasn't done really well so far. So what's the best results for Keir Starmer? Well, resigning, I would say. Let somebody more capable to do the job. Someone slightly more on the human side. Someone with some morals and some sort of respect towards the people he is meant to be representing. This guy is a complete and utter disaster when it comes to being a Prime Minister. And he has the audacity to criticise the Conservative Party when all he's done is totally disrupt everything. Thanks to Keir Starmer, we've even had riots on our streets and mass protests. It does show us, doesn't it, what sort of Prime Minister we have here in Britain. But it doesn't stop there really, does it? Not with Keir Starmer. Because it's all come to light now about his little backhanders. I know he calls them gifts, but he's been given quite a few expensive gifts apparently. Well, to me that's a backhander. So in other words, he's taking some sort of bribes, because at the end of the day, he should know, being a lawyer, that people do not give you very expensive gifts and do not want anything in return. So what is Keir Starmer offering these people? If they're offering him gifts that are quite expensive, he's got to be giving something back in return. So why would he accept these gifts? Being in such a position he has left himself open to being ridiculed and questions for taking bribes, because that is how it's coming across. In his position, he should be refusing expensive gifts. But Keir Starmer clearly is such a greedy person, he's quite happy to take them. So is this the person we want running the country? Not only does he not give a damn about the British people, but he's also taking backhanders, which is ironic really, as Keir Starmer totally criticised the Conservative government for basically doing the same thing. One description of Keir Starmer was given regarding to him and the Conservative Party, and it was the same trough but different noses in it. Keir Starmer's doing nothing different to what the Conservatives did, apart from the fact that he's alienated British people, the fact that he's caused disruption here in Britain. Didn't get that under a Conservative government, did you? And no, I'm not saying the Conservatives are perfect, far from it. Come on, let's face it, the Conservatives were nothing like the Labour Party. Who would you rather have running your country now, Conservatives or Labour? In my eyes, it definitely wouldn't be Labour, because at the end of the day, how can you describe Starmer? Well, the best way is I would let Sooty here, let him tell you what he thinks of Starmer, and it's not going to be nice, hence the reason why I'm not saying it, and he's going to be more open and honest than I am. And I'm actually quite surprised I haven't been arrested yet, going by my previous videos. We know how Starmer likes to control what we say and what we think. Not doing too well, is he? Maybe I'm too young to be put in prison. He does seem to be targeting pensioners. This guy isn't a pleasant person to have running a country, is he? But it doesn't just stop with Starmer, does it? Because I also learned that Angela Rayner, the gobby ginger one, has also been taking a bit of a backhander in accepting gifts. So we got Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, slightly on the corrupt side, because that's how it's looking at present. And that's only what we know so far. Wonder how many more skeletons these two have in their closets, hidden away, that we don't know about yet. But going back to Starmer, you think, being a lawyer, he'd be very good at covering his tracks. But this guy clearly doesn't have the intelligence to remember what lies he has told people, or to cover his own tracks so people don't find out what he's up to. So clearly his education as a lawyer was also probably bought from bribery, maybe. Who knows? This guy is so corrupt, it's possible, isn't it? And no, I'm not saying he used bribery to get to where he is. I'm just saying that as a comical suggestion. So what is next coming from Labour? What else will we find out about them? This is a party within such a short time has totally screwed up, full stop. They literally need to go. Keir Starmer literally needs to resign. What's the point of being a Prime Minister of Britain when you are the most hated person there is? Has he not got the hint yet? People don't like him. People don't want him running the country. One of the things about being a Prime Minister is getting people to like you and to support you. Getting people to see you as a good Prime Minister. He's done far from that. So surely he should take the hint, resign, Let someone else step in your place if Labour has to run this country, who is more suitable, more capable to do the job. Let someone step in that is going to be possibly liked, because at the moment Keir Starmer has done so much damage to Labour. Even the ones that are reasonably half on the decent side there will be tarred with the same brush. They will see all Labour politicians in the same way as they see Keir Starmer, corrupt and with no caring for the country. So it is time that Labour needs to have a rethink about who they want running the country. Also, who do they want running Labour? Surely Labour can see that Keir Starmer is not good for the Labour Party. Maybe they all need to gang up on him and just kick him out. Tell him to sod off. He's not welcome within the Labour Party. You're talking a guy that's got a huge mansion, so he's definitely not a traditional Labour working class person, is he? And one person on YouTube pointed out there was questions about why he was spending on a flat £400 per day. And guess who paid for that? You and I, the taxpayers. So this guy loves living the life of luxury, and he's using yours and my money to do so. But apart from the corruption side of things, it wasn't too long ago that the Labour Party was kicking off about Conservatives over the COVID lockdown period, breaches, breaking the rules, and so on. What has now come to light, Keir Starmer was also, in one aspect, breaking rules within COVID as well. Christmas Day, he did an interview online with all the Christmas cards behind him and pictures of his family on the shelves. But it's now come out that the place that he was doing the filming from wasn't his. It was one of his very rich friends' flats. So he wasn't working from home. He wasn't doing the stay home, stay safe policy. He was in somebody's flat filming. And he also did the same when the Queen had passed away, doing his speech from that same flat. So not only is he taking backhanders from very, very rich people, he may also be, in one aspect, sort of in breach of the COVID rules that were put in place, the ones that he wanted Conservatives punished for being breach of. This guy has more double standards than any con man you will come across on the streets. I think Keir Starmer is about as dodgy as Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. So what are your views regards to Keir Starmer? Do you think he should go, resign, quit, and let someone else more suitable take his place? Or are you happy with what's going on in Britain under Keir Starmer's ruling? Do you think he's suitable to be a Prime Minister? Or do you think he's not suitable to lead anything? So maybe the Labour Party needs a huge shake-up and get rid of the rotten apples within that barrel, because there seems to be quite a few at the moment, and they all have double standards, and they're all very two-faced. But then you've only got to look how Keir Starmer lied to get the votes on the elections, promising this and promising that. When he got in and became Prime Minister, he soon literally forgot about all the statements he made and all the promises. But then we should know that. But then are we surprised? And the answer is no, not really. Do we want a Prime Minister who likes to steal money from elderly pensioners? Who likes to do his best to make people a lot poorer than what they already are in this country, and also doesn't mind breaking a few rules as long as he doesn't get caught. But unfortunately for Keir Starmer, he seems to be getting caught quite a bit recently. And maybe Keir Starmer needs to literally watch all the posts on YouTube. Maybe he will realise that he's not very well liked, he's not respected, and that he's not going to get any loyalty from the British people or support. But then does he care? You've only got to see how he responded when he went to put the wreath in Stockport, when those 3 little girls died from the stabbings. He was totally emotionless. He didn't care. He didn't even speak to any of the public to reassure them and try to set their minds at rest that he will put a stop to things like this happening. He will come down hard on people committing offences such as stabbings, because that's one of the things that seem to grow rapidly here in Britain, more so under a Labour government. Each day we hear on the news or on YouTube of stabbings, violent assaults on people. Now, I know you can't point the finger at Labour. They're not out there saying go and do it. As soon as Labour takes over, violent crime suddenly escalates. There are more and more stabbings on the streets each day under a Labour government. Why has this suddenly started now? But then when you put a blasphemy law in place that only protects Islam, well, that's a green light for them to do whatever they want because they know they're untouchable. And no, I'm not saying all these stabbings are carried out by people of the Islamic faith. I'm just stating on that element. When you put a law in place that protects a certain culture, it automatically tells them they are protected. So I think when it comes to people in this country, if you're not British or not white, maybe Keir Starmer has given people who are very politically minded the perception that they can do whatever they want because they're untouchable. Who knows? Share your views on what you think what's gone wrong with this country, apart from Labour running it. And just remember, this is in such a short time of Labour running this country. We've got 5 years of Labour running this country. Unless somehow someone can step in and totally remove them, such as the King, because if Labour is a danger to the country and to its people, surely the King can step in and have them removed. He has the rights to take control of who runs the country, because it is the King's country. We are his subjects. So maybe it's time for King Charles to step in and say enough is enough. You're doing too much damage to our country. Because they are doing so much damage on a day-to-day basis. And it has to stop before it's too late. Because at present, it seems like that this country is beyond repair. Our streets in some of our cities and larger towns are now a danger to be in. It has been said that people are even moving out of London simply because of the risks of living there. There are people who will not go out after a certain time when it starts getting dark within certain areas, simply because the cities they live in is so bad that it wasn't even this bad in the 1980s. In the 1980s, all we had to fear was the IRA, and they didn't just target people aimlessly, innocent people, general public. The majority of their attacks were on military and politicians. But 2024, we are all possible victims of attack now. And it has got worse under Labour. And maybe Labour needs to sit back and think, what have we done wrong? Well, one of the places you're going wrong is having Keir Starmer as your main leader. Then you have the brown-nosers who sit beside him, who just nod, smile, agree. Totally mindless subjects he has sitting around him. The type of people who, if he said jump, they would ask him how high. Spineless, with no backbone. People who probably disagree with what he's doing, but just nod and grin, instead of turning and saying, hold on a minute, you're wrong. But then they are taking backhanders, aren't they? So they like living in the luxury. So why should they speak up about their Prime Minister, their leader? Why would they want him removed when they're benefiting from it? So what do you think? Do you think he should go? Are you going to be happy having Keir Starmer as our Prime Minister for the next 5 years? And what else is going to happen under his leadership? How much more damage can he do? It is a case that only time will tell, and we will find out. And no doubt it would be you and I, the taxpayers, who will have to pay for it. It's like one of the things that was pointed out recently about 350 flats that was recently done up, fully decorated, latest flat screen TVs, satellite television, and not one of these flats were for British people. They were for asylum seekers, all backed by Labour government. So this is the future under a Labour government. All these luxury flats being done up, mod cons, everything else, and none of them being offered to British people, because Labour will offer every single house that's available to non-British citizens. And who will be paying for it? Well, we know, don't we? You and I, once again, the taxpayers. And no, this is not just under a Labour government. Conservatives also did the same. It's just Labour now are going to prioritise people who are non-British when it comes to anything. And if you agree with what I'm saying, you know what will happen. Keir Starmer will call you a racist. He will say that you are a member of the far right, because that's how Keir Starmer likes to label people here in Britain these days. Especially ones that speak out about anything he's doing, about the damage he does in this country. And he will find any way to stick us in prison, to keep us quiet. He doesn't mind letting paedophiles back out of prison, rapists, murderers, muggers, thieves. He quite happily let them out of prison early, so he can get people in there, like you and I, who are speaking our minds. He doesn't mind crime rates going up as he releases hardened convicted criminals, as long as he can get people off the streets who are speaking their mind and have them locked away in prisons. There was one person not too long ago who was put in prison for an offence I thought somebody was joking about. Apparently, this guy, on a protest, shouted at a police dog and got 20 months in prison. Yes, seriously, 20 months in prison for shouting at a police dog. Now, would you classify that as a serious crime? Would you warrant having someone put in prison for shouting at a dog? And this is all under Labour government's ruling. In one of my previous videos, it's like I spoke about the guy that called the police horse gay. The only reason he did not get put in prison is because possibly the police didn't want to look stupid. Going to court, why has he been arrested? He called a horse gay. This is stupid ruling made up by Keir Starmer and his little cronies. These people need to be wearing jester suits. They are a joke. You cannot take them serious. I know now that if somebody from Labour knocked on my door and asked for my support by ticking a box, well, I'm not going to say what I would say to them, to their face, on YouTube. Sooty here is allowed to get away with saying certain things that I won't. So come on, Keir Starmer, if you watch this video, give up, quit, resign, hand in your notice. We don't want you as our Prime Minister. You're not fit to be the Prime Minister of Britain. Well, that's my views on Labour and my little chat regards to Keir Starmer and the latest things that I found out. So I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And a massive thank you to all you guys who've hit that subscribe button and supported my channel and helping it grow. It is so appreciated. And for all your comments as well, all the positive comments people have left. So if any of you guys who have subscribed or who have commented are watching this video, huge thank you to you guys. So that's it for now. Until my next video, it's a case of now saying goodbye from me, goodbye from him, and stay safe.